About 3/4 of the world's school children are not in school, and they're not there because of COVID-19. It affects about 1.5 billion children and young people. I've searched, and I can't find any example of this ever having happened anywhere else in the modern world, not in history. Now, few disagree that prolonged absence from the classroom has profound implications for children's well-being, their development, and their knowledge retention. Last Friday, one of the most renowned pediatric specialists in the world expressed his deep concern on this show about the harm this is causing.
We know from studies now out of China that depression rates in kids who've been locked down are up 20 to 30%. We know that children from low-income families in particular who are being homeschooled, they're not getting an adequate education because their parents are working, because they don't have high-speed internet, and those kids are falling further and further behind.
At-risk kids, especially vulnerable. Certainly that makes sense. But almost all moms with whom I speak are frustrated, and they're frankly frightened that these closures are going to continue indefinitely. Now, whether parents work outside or inside the home, or they're stay-at-home parents, now, most are not well suited to be teaching an array of subjects, especially if they have multiple children. And by the way, the teachers don't seem all that thrilled either.
All of my kids in my classroom are all laughing, and there's talking, and there's movement and busyness, and I've gone from that to a totally different thing where I'm an IT person looking at a screen all day, and I'm just trying to help parents with tech issues all day long.
Okay, I've been there, guilty as charged, trying to figure out the tech issues. Now, digital learning, distance learning, online classes, they have a place, and they may work as supplements or in very short periods of time. But it all gets old fast, and it leads, in some cases, to a feeling of isolation, and it just doesn't engage children like in-person learning. Yet 192 countries pulled kids out of school. And these decisions were based not so much on science, but out of an abundance of caution. You really can't blame people. Everyone was worried. They're freaking out. They don't want anything to happen to their kids. So what do we know now about the health risks, though, to children and to adults if they return to school? Well, we know now that overwhelmingly children do not get seriously ill from COVID, thank goodness. Most testing positive are totally asymptomatic. Recently, health officials are reporting instances, though, of an inflammatory reaction in kids that could be COVID-related, although it is also rarely fatal. The real debate right now surrounds how much, if at all, children spread the virus to adults. The idea that they're silent super spreaders, that sounded really scary some weeks ago, but that's basically been debunked. More research is really needed. Yet, regarding the school issue, maybe we start thinking about it this way. A comparison to influenza might be illustrative. According to the CDC's numbers, which is all we have to go by, this past flu season was a very bad one for children. While only a handful of children died from COVID nationwide as of May 9th, the CDC reported 174 pediatric flu deaths this season. In addition, we had 18 million medical visits and 410,000 hospitalizations due to influenza this season, again, according to the CDC. Now, on its website, the CDC estimates between, this is curious, 24,000 and 62,000 preliminary flu deaths. That's quite a range. It's complicated, I guess, to get all the states turning in all their data, but that's a big range. Could be as many as 62,000. Why didn't we hear more about the flu vis-a-vis kids in school, given that number? Even with the double-barrel threat of influenza A and influenza B, which kids were really susceptible this season, and the fact that it's highly contagious among classmates, we had no wide-scale school closures in the United States. I didn't even hear of anyone suggesting that. Even during the swine flu epidemic, only about 726 of the more than 131,000 K-12 schools in the country shut down. Now, I'm not saying that COVID-19, by the way, is like the flu. It is not. But what I am saying is that far more children died of influenza this year, that it's highly contagious among them, yet no one seriously considered keeping most of our nation's school children at home because of the danger. Now, last month, The Lancet published a review of past coronavirus studies, and it suggests that closing schools may only have a minor role in suppressing COVID-19. Now, they looked at the data from SARS and that outbreak in mainland China, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and it suggests that school transmission played no substantial role in the outbreak, and that school closures and other activities, such as school temperature monitoring, did not contribute to control of infection transmission. We'll see how it goes, I guess, with COVID-19, but it's certainly worth noting that. Now, in Sweden, school children there were never pulled from school. And meanwhile, The Guardian reports that reopening of schools in 22 European countries now has not led to any significant increase in coronavirus infections among children, among parents, or staff. Now, there was a thing in France. We had 70 people in an outbreak, but out of the huge number of people back in school there, they have a handle on that. Now, today I went on a 2-hour bike ride through D.C. with my 11-year-old. I went through the woods, went through parts of the city, and all 4 of us go on these long walks in the woods most mornings, my kids and I. And that's been a treat for me and for them usually, although sometimes they roll their eyes at me, but that's just the way it goes. Now, these are memories that I cherish because they're home from school. We can do that. Yet I have to say I'm really worried about how much they've really learned this semester. Even how great their teachers are, it's still not the same. And I see how much they miss their friends and their teachers and the administrators at their schools. And I'm also thinking, and we pray for this every night, about the less fortunate among us. They don't have any help. They don't have the luxury of venturing into nature every day, perhaps. And what about the frontline workers? They can't find childcare or someone to supplement the teaching of their kids. What happens if unemployed people in the fall find jobs? We hope they do. Yet their kids' schools say, sorry, they're not coming back. We need to get creative and not abandon classroom learning, certainly since we don't have any real data to back this up. Now, check this out. Cambridge University has basically given up, and they've announced that they're not opening until, I think, the summer of 2021 at this point. But we can be smarter, and are. Notre Dame just announced that it's opening in the fall, but they're going to end their semester a little bit early, and they're going to kill the fall break. I don't know why they have the fall break anywhere there, but they are killing that in case there's a second wave. So they're moderating, but they're getting people back. Kids need school at all ages. We can protect their health, and we can protect their minds. We can use our innovation, and we can use our common sense. And no, I'm sorry, Zoom is not the answer. And that's the angle.